Ah, the classic, I'll change, I'll change. And then here's what I've learned. Most people don't want to change until they need to change because change is uncomfortable and it's scary. And unless you're obsessed with personal development like I am and self-growth, you don't do it for fun. You do it out of necessity. So usually this is in the face of loss, in the face of cataclysmic disaster, in the face of significant pain that brings you to your knees, or this deep knowing that something is fundamentally wrong and repeating in your life and you have to fix it. And there are levels of awakeness. Very often, this is just my personal observation, very often people are so focused on what others are doing to them or what they are experiencing from other people, and they're criticizing other people. And there are those that are highly critical of themselves and obsessive about their internal world and reflecting and have insight, but a lot of people are not like this. So they often focus on who's hurting me and why are they hurting me before they start asking themselves, why am I hurting myself? Why am I choosing somebody like this in my life? And so as a result, this is actually great for being a relationship coach because I get to help people with this all day long. And I love it, actually. It's so rewarding because when you get there and you start to understand what the game is, the consciousness game, it changes your vision forever and you are forever empowered and you don't ever have to be in any shitty relationship. Once you figure it out, you're like, I've got it. But back to most people before they're awake, there are levels of awakeness and there's this level of understanding. And it's often the pain that brings us to that table of confrontation. And it is that experience of questioning or the dark night of the soul that gets us to illuminate within, what am I doing? How did I get here? And how do I not repeat it? So what you're going to find is that partners will often confess things like, I'm going to change, I'm going to therapy, I'm going to hire a coach, I'm going to read this book, I'm going to do this course, when they are faced with loss. What this practically means for you is that when you say yes to somebody who does this and they're not actually ready to change, they're just trying to prevent loss, they won't actually follow through. And so you can repeat a cycle with them. I know people who've gone back into marriages and have now been back for years and years and years only to be confronted with the same cycle and the same potential ending and being literally at the same precipice, having the same conversation, only to recognize that their person actually is just deeply afraid of change and deeply afraid of loss. And they'll say that they're going to make changes, but actually they're so frightened to confront themselves that they end up saying that. And when their partner comes back, suddenly that pressure point is removed. And because we are wired for complacency, consistency, predictability, our body has set points. Our brain is actually wired for the familiar, the predictable, which makes things like quantum shifting all the more challenging if you follow other pieces of my content. And so understanding how we're built and how we're wired, we are wired for homeostasis, to keep things the way that they're supposed to be and wired to keep certain set points. And when you understand that, you understand that why people often don't want to change, because it's uncomfortable, it's frightening, and it takes time, energy, resources. It's exhausting to do that relentless questioning. It can be expensive depending on how slow or quick you are or who you hire and whether or not they're effective in helping you take those shortcuts that you need, whether or not you even hire anybody at all and then struggle for like decades. And it's a real thing. So the next time your partner says, I'm going to change, be sure to be very discerning and very mindful about whether or not they're just trying to avoid the loss or whether or not they're actually ready to confront themselves.